They say if you go to Hollow Lake, whatever you do, don't swim after sunset. The locals, they'll tell you with a look in their eyes you won't forget. They say the water changes when the last light leaves the sky. It gets hungry. We thought it was just a local legend, a campfire story to spook the tourists. We were young, arrogant, and looking for a thrill. Just another ghost story, right? We laughed it off. Our group of four, me, Liam, Chloe, and Ben, arrived at the lake just as the sun was bleeding into the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and deep purple. The water was like glass, perfectly still, reflecting the dying day. The air grew cool and the woods around us fell silent. It was beautiful, but an eerie kind of beautiful. The old warning echoed in my head, but Liam was already kicking off his shoes. Last one in is a rotten egg, he yelled, his voice shattering the quiet. Chloe and Ben were right behind him, their laughter echoing across the water. I hesitated for just a moment. Something felt wrong. A chill that had nothing to do with the evening air crawled up my spine, but the fear of being left out was stronger than the fear of the unknown. So I followed them in. The water was shockingly cold, but refreshing after a long day's hike. We splashed and played, our voices the only sound under the emerging stars. The sun had completely disappeared now, leaving only the faint glow of twilight. That's when it started. I felt something brush against my leg. I thought it was just a fish or maybe a loose weed. Did you feel that? I asked. Chloe nodded, her smile gone. Yeah, something just touched me. Liam laughed it off. It's just the lake monster coming to say hi. But his joke fell flat. The playful atmosphere was gone, replaced by a thick, creeping dread. Then we saw them. Just beneath the surface, pale faces began to appear. Their eyes were wide and empty, their mouths open in silent screams. They weren't floating. They were rising slowly, deliberately from the murky depths, dozens of them, men, women, children. Their features were distorted by the water, their hair swaying like seaweed. Panic seized us. We scrambled, slipping and clawing our way back to the shore, our screams lost in the vast darkness. We didn't look back, we just ran. We ran through the woods, branches whipping our faces, until we burst out onto the road, gasping for air, our hearts pounding like war drums. We collapsed into the car and sped away, leaving Hollow Lake and its nightmare behind us. We drove in silence, each of us lost in our own terror. We tried to talk about it later to make sense of what we saw. Was it a hallucination? A prank? But we all saw the same thing, the faces, those dead, empty eyes. We tried to move on, to forget. We went back to our lives, our jobs, our routines. But something was off. Time seemed to blur. Conversations felt familiar, like we'd had them before. We'd find ourselves telling the same jokes, making the same plans over and over again. A constant unsettling feeling of vu hung over us. One evening, about a week after it happened, or what felt like a week, we were all together trying to have a normal night. Liam was telling a story and I suddenly knew every word he was going to say before he said it. I looked at Chloe and she had a look of dawning horror on her face. She knew it too. We all did. The memory of that night at the lake wasn't a memory at all. It was a loop. We weren't survivors. We didn't escape. The horrible truth settled over us like a shroud. When we saw those faces rising from the water, we weren't just looking at the lake's past victims. We were looking at a reflection. We've been dead since that night. We drowned in the cold, dark water of Hollow Lake. And now we're just part of the story, the warning. Every night the sun sets, we ignore the local legends and we run to the water for one last swim. We are the faces beneath the surface, forever trapped in our final moments, reliving the curse of Hollow Lake over and over again. Waiting for the next group of kids who think it's just a story. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Stay safe out there.